Hello and welcome to another Jay's Politics Blog podcast, part of the Podcast 99 Internet Radio Network. You can reach us at podcast99.org or me directly at jpoliticspodcast@gmail.com or on Twitter and Gab at j_brown81 or 1981. Sorry. I'm kind of at a loss today with my handles and whatnot, but yesterday, something happened that I think is a blatant violation of free speech. Whether you agree with me or not, whether you agree that the company has the right to do what they did or not, is completely irrelevant to me, completely regardless of what I think, of my opinion and of my thoughts on the situation. That's not to say that I won't. That's not to say that I wouldn't honor your opinion or talk about it, debate it back and forth. That's not the point I'm trying to make here. What I'm trying to make is the point I'm trying to make here is that the Patreon has failed in their duty and their job as a source of quote unquote free speech promotion. If you've followed anything in the last couple of days about what happened to Sargon of Akkad, Milo Yiannopoulos, and others, you would know that they had been banned, and James Alsop, I think, is the other one. But they've all been banned from Patreon, and so far the only one that I've seen so far actually come out with the information about it is Sargon. Now that's his prerogative, not mine. But we'll see about it from there. Give me just a second here. I'm trying to pop out my chat from stream.me. So that way, if you're following me on YouTube or stream.me, I can respond to you. All right. So with that said, let's go over to my main show page here. What you'll see is the YouTuber law, Lior Leser. Now, he put out his video yesterday before Sargon had come out with his information from Patreon about what's going on. Patreon, like I said, has gone and terminated services, which I understand what he is saying in his video is their legal right to do. Their right to police their platform. However, the situation is a little more nuanced than what he knew at the time of making this video. I look forward to being able to watch it on Tuesday if I can, his live stream. I'll leave a link to below. You can see it here on the screen, but I will leave a link to it below to discuss this. I'm not on Patreon as a creator. I haven't even supported anybody on there yet. However, I did tweet to them today about what it is about their services. What right is it of theirs to police other people's content on other platforms? Now, you could say, arguably, that because they're taking the money from the patrons to give to the creator, that they have a right to police the content that links to the creator's Patreon page. I could understand that. I could almost agree with that. The problem is that the issue for Sargon specifically, like I said, I don't know any of the others' specific situations. But the issue with Sargon's is that they're claiming that he violated the terms of service, the community guidelines for hate speech. And the fact that about 10, 11 months ago, he went on another YouTube creator's live stream, not his own. His patrons didn't pay him to go on there, none of that. They booted him off there for using the N-word, specifically when talking to white nationalists, neo-Nazis, whatever you want to call them. I'll have a link to Sargon's video, which is the second tab on my window here. But when I sat there and was listening to his video, I couldn't help but agree with him that they've deplatformed him for no other reason than the fact of who he is and what his opinions are. And my proof is actually in their actual community guidelines regarding hate speech. I should have left it pulled up here. But I've highlighted the sections where they talk about it's only going to be applied to items on the Patreon website. These violations can only happen on the Patreon website per their hate speech terms of service, which Sargon also goes over in his. I've also tweeted this out, so if you follow me on my regular Twitter handle, you'll have seen this. But the point I'm trying to make here is that with the change in the way we view things as a society, free speech is becoming less and less about free speech. It's about defending our right to express the ideas, whether you agree with them or not. And I don't agree with white supremacists at all. But I keep saying this, I keep harping on this, that the freedom of speech of others should not be infringed upon just because you disagree with the idea. Debate them on the idea. Debate them on the topic. Discuss it. Be open-minded to hear their points and then counter them with your own. That's your choice. But to say that you're too sensitive, and I hate to throw this out there, but that you need a safe space from these ideas, then create your own blog. Create your own space where you can limit access to who gets to see it and who doesn't. You know, there's this wonderful function on YouTube that allows you to list your videos as private, or only you can share out the link. You can even unlist them as well. But yet people choose not to do this. Now, watching Sargon's video, if you go through it, he lists out, you know, the reasons why he hasn't violated their terms of service. This was not on any of his YouTube channels. His patrons did not fund him to go onto Michelle Caitlin's live stream. The live stream was not posted to my Patreon account. And according to most social justice warriors, is you cannot be racist to Nazis. So by their logic, by most social justice warriors, and by their own terms of service, Patreon's conclusion is that he did nothing wrong, and yet they still violated his terms of service. There we go. I'm going to find his little email. Here, I'm going to see if I can click this up to full screen. Patreon does not allow creators to use racial slurs or insults. In a conversation posted on Michelle Caitlin's YouTube channel, linked below there, you use language considered harmful or degrading. For this reason, your Patreon creator page was removed. That is total bollocks. That is total BS. There's no reason that they should have done this. Because it wasn't on his pages. Wasn't on his YouTube, wasn't on his any of that. Like I said, you know, it's according to Patreon's own terms of service, he did nothing wrong. But it is what it is. Further on, you get people being deplatformed left and right, and you can talk, and you see he talks about it. But then you get far leftists that can come on and say things, and I'm not going to share his thing. Actually, you can't. Oh, yeah, you can see what I'm showing. But he shares David Rubin's interview with Jack Conte a few years ago or earlier this year, when he's discussing the Lauren Southern removal from Patreon. That's the thing, is like, we we should be able to use these platforms because that's what they're. They're platforms. They are not publishers. And society should not be holding them to account for our opinions, for our ideas. We as content creators should be responsible for that for ourselves. But society doesn't want to hold us to that. Society doesn't want to challenge us to that. Sorry, I had another live stream up and I didn't want the audio to come through accidentally here. But we have to, how do I want to put this? We have to allow these ideas to be discussed. You can tell me I'm wrong all day long until you're blue in the face. Free speech cannot and should not be infringed upon by the government. It should also not be infringed upon by corporate America by telling me what I can and cannot say, by telling me what I can and cannot hear. If I get on Discord quite a bit, and there are some servers I'm on that have political debates sections of their server. And I'll get in there and discuss them. And if I am wrong, I will correct myself. If I am incorrect, if I am correct, I hope the other person has the wherewithal to do that. And if we come to an impasse where it is really a matter of opinion on a subject, I hope we can agree to disagree and have a civil conversation. I also get into some of these YouTube comment sections about things like, price fixing and other socioeconomical things. I sit here and I listen to other YouTubers talk about various political leaders, various news stories. And all I can think of is that half of these people, if they were as big as Sargon, would be deplatformed in a heartbeat on any number of services. I've been considering going to Patreon, starting up my creator page on Patreon. And I only have like 24 subscribers, and it wasn't meant to be anything other than, if you want to support me, great. I'm not making a lot of content, so I was probably going to have it do monthly, maybe even video per video, because again, most of what I'm doing is live streams right now. But at this point, I don't think I can, as Carl says in the title, you cannot trust Patreon. I don't think I can trust Patreon to provide me a fair hearing, a fair service, for even discussing anything that they appear to have a moral objection to, whether I link that to my Patreon or not. I fear for the friends that I do live streams with that actually do have Patreon. I'm going to urge them to try and go to another platform. But at the same time, it's just, why? Because eventually the payment processors that service these other companies are going to get hate mobbed again, like they did with Gab, like they do with Bitchute. All these startups that they tell us to go start, and then as soon as we start them up, and even one person of contention in the views of the left, the far left, is on there, they get wind and they're like, oh, you have this person on there, you have this person on there. They promote this type of speech and rhetoric. You should stop servicing them. And if that doesn't work, then they go to those the web hosts for those sites. They go to the payment processors for those sites. When does it end? when does it end? Right now, it looks like I have nobody in my chats or anything. But in all honesty, how can I, you know, how can we have this? You know, I just I'm at a loss of words here. Pardon me. But anyways, let me know in the comment section below my video. Let me know on my page. I'm restarting up my politics podcast. I'm still gonna send my stuff to Dave over at Podcast 99. But I think I'm gonna put more of my written thoughts out there solely on my blog page on WordPress. But it's actually www.jayspoliticsblog.com, I think is what I have it as. Sorry, I'm pulling it up right now. Well, let's go to... I shall go to WordPress and visit my page then and get the actual web page. My site. But really the whole point of freedom of speech is to allow us the opportunity to discuss, the opportunity to go where we need to go where we want to go, and discuss these ideas. There we go. Yep, it's jayspoliticsblog.com is my page. So like I said, I'm gonna start kicking that up again, and I may or may not be linking my videos. I may or may not be linking my audio files here. I may just keep all that stuff on YouTube, Bitchute, and also on Podcast 99 for the audio. But I'm truly at a loss. Of my friends and my family out there that care to discuss this, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about freedom of speech? Regardless of your opinion of people, why is it you think that ideas, whether proven right or wrong, should not be discussed? I have friends and family that tell me that that by allowing neo-Nazis and white supremacists a voice gives credence, gives credibility to their opinions, and it doesn't. That would be like me saying that to them that communism has failed, socialism has failed. Look at the USSR, look at Venezuela, look at Cuba, and all that, and then coming back and tell me, well, no, that's not true communism, that's not true socialism, etc. These ideas have been discussed, debated, tested, and they have failed. Nazism has failed, fascism has failed, but they don't want to see that the other side, their side, has failed in tests before. The problem that and this is going to go off on a tangent here, but the problem that they're unwilling to see is that that we cannot rule out human nature, and that is the protection of what isn't mine. I own something, therefore mine, regardless of whether it affects the community or not. People talk about the indigenous tribes of North America and Australia and how they don't exactly have a ownership mentality. If anything, the land owns them versus them owning the land. Those types of things. That's fine. But they also have an honor code that you don't take from them. You don't take from their meager possessions that they have and, use it for yourself. Things like that. So I'm at a loss. I have no other words to say it. I think I might try and get some people on here, either via a Discord or Skype or something, to where we can, or even a Google Hangout, to where where we can discuss this openly. Because I honestly think that we're getting to a tipping point here. We're getting to a point where either we're going to allow free speech to continue the way it has and tone back some of the social justice mentality on it, or we're just going to go full social justice and eventually the left is going to eat its own. And I am part of the left side of politics. I'm a left centrist, so a left of center, libertarian style person, politically speaking. So, I have the right to speak my mind. I have the right to put it out there. You also have the right not to listen to me. And that's fine. I don't expect YouTube to owe me anything. I don't expect anybody who's a subscriber of mine to pay me for my content. I don't expect any of that. What I do expect is that we honor each other's rights, especially here in the United States, to their First Amendment rights, to their Second Amendment rights, all the way down to I think it's the 27th or the 28th Amendment. Let me pull that up really quick. Bear with me just a second here. USConstitution.net. 27th. Everybody has the rights to do certain things. And yes, those rights should not impede upon others' rights as well. But at the same time, when the left is using those... hey, squirrel. When the left is using those to shield themselves, i.e. Jim Acosta and his ban from the White House as a violation of the freedom of press. But yet you have somebody like Sargon being denied his right via Patreon because he didn't violate their terms of service. They just felt like he did. Is entirely the point I'm trying to make here. So, yeah. So, like I said, like I showed earlier, I think that Sargon's right. The issue that they cited to him was not on his channel, any of them. His patrons didn't fund him to go to this other person's live stream. He was invited to go there. The live stream didn't post to his Patreon account. If it was posted to Patreon, it would have been to Michelle Caitlin's, not his. So if anything, it should be a violation of her Patreon if she has one. And I don't think it is, and I don't think it should be. And according to most social justice people, you can't be racist towards Nazis, which is how most of the left leans in the tech culture is the social justice movement. What did he do wrong other than saying words on another person's platform, another person's channel? And again, I'll show this as well one more time, just so Squirrel can see it. Here is the hate speech terms of service for Patreon, highlighting here that it is on their platform, nobody else's. And if you watch Sargon's video, which will be linked below when I update it, he talks about James, what's his name? Jim Conte, the CEO of Patreon, says it doesn't affect how you act on Twitter or other platforms. It is only what you do on Patreon. I can agree with part of their citing of if it's a link to that links to their Patreon thing, like putting your Patreon in your YouTube, videos. But the other source that I was talking about, the service I was talking about is subscribestar.com. And let me pull that up here. And this is, I signed up today. I haven't signed up as a creator, just as a supporter for right now. But, oh, Dave Cullen's here. Tim Pool's here. So, I mean, think about it. They can even link your Discord, which my Discord is linked. So, yes, Squirrel, I agree. Their trust and safety cowards have an axe to grind, which is always the case in these instances. I don't like what you said, so therefore I'm booting you. But, anyways, I'm thinking about, and I might put a Twitter poll out. I might even put a poll on my webpage, which will be linked below as well, on my YouTube page. Please, I'm thinking about starting up as a content creator in the new year, so this way it doesn't affect my taxes this year, and I have time to look into it and research it. So, all right. Just wanted to get this off my chest for today, and like I said, I may have other people on to discuss this sometime, maybe over my holiday break of 2 weeks before and after Christmas. We'll see. But hope you guys have a great weekend. Sad to see that Army beat Navy again, but it is what it is. I will commend the cadets for the West Point cadets for their win. And Navy, get your ass in gear so we can, whatever the next social media platform is, we can beat them before it's created, and then we can say, spend another 15 years before they win again. All right. Have a great weekend, guys. Enjoy your time with your family this holiday season.